Back then, when I would like to practice Dhamma, I like to read the scriptures, the Tipitaka. Back then, I understood how to meditate, but I don't know how to move on to the next level. I just got the peacefulness and calmness. Once I got out from the samadhi, I become restless again, and it's come back and forth between restlessness and calmness. And I knew deep down that the Dhamma of Lord Buddha is more than that, more than what I know. If I don't know how to search for the path, back then, at that time, I didn't have any master or teachers. Master Luangpu Li passed away, so I tried to search for the Dhamma in the scriptures, but I became confused with the contents. There's a lot of Dhamma within the scriptures, like 5 aggregates or 22 faculties and etc. These are in the text. And it said that you need to observe it as 3 characteristics. How could you see it as 3 characteristics? I only can think about it. So I was trying to search for the way to practice Dhamma, but I don't know how to start. Then I met Luangpu Du, Master Luangpu Du. He only taught only 1-2 sentences. He said that I read so many books, now read your own mind. The key words here is to read or observe your own mind. He's been observing my practice by meditating and closing his eyes. That was the first time I met him. I thought that he was so full, and he's very old, 95 years old. Once he became satiated, he would basically fall asleep. But then he opened his eyes and said that you read a lot of books, now read your own mind. He understood that I read a lot of books and Dhamma already. So he told me to observe my mind. But how to observe my mind is very difficult. I don't know what the mind is. I don't know where the mind is. And what are some of the tools that can read my mind and how to do it? I basically have no idea what to do, anything at all. Once I don't know what to do, I don't know how to observe my mind. I don't know how to read my mind. But it's actually like reading books. Once the book is in front of your eyes, it's very easy to read. But for the mind is nowhere to be found. So I become startled. I don't know how to move on. Even though I listen to the Dhamma talks of Master Luangpu Du, I don't know how to practice. I didn't know. And then, so I became startled. So I come back to the calm samadhi, breathe in, breathe out. After a while, the mind becomes calm. Once the mind becomes calm, then I try to contemplate, using wisdom to contemplate. At first, if you become so startled, the wisdom cannot solve the problem. But once your mind is calmed down, then you're trying to contemplate what he said. He said that I should observe my mind. I understand that. I understood that the mind needs to be within my body. The mind shouldn't be anywhere else in the outside world, like in the mountains or in the trails or in the forest. It's in the field or in the ponds or the trees. I know that the mind isn't outside. The mind is within. Therefore, from now on, I would learn the Dhamma not beyond my body. I would circulate observation within my body, not getting outside of my body, forgetting about my body. Most people their minds are not within their body. They are outside all the time, constantly. We see other people more than ourselves. We listen to other people more than our hearts. Actually, our hearts keep on constantly speaking all the time, but never listen to it. What happens within our body, we actually have no idea what's happening. For example, if you are absent-minded, even the mosquito bit you, you wouldn't feel a thing. So most people forget about your own heart or body. So I thought to myself that the mind needs to be in body. So I try to become aware of the body, feel it. And at first, once I try to observe within, I see that the mind within the body, but I don't know where exactly the mind is. So I try and observe a string of hair and then go downwards to the feet. Keep on observing each part of the body. Once observe a hair, a strand of hair, and the hair is gone, so the mind is within the hair. And I go towards the nails, the bones, each part of the body. I couldn't find the mind within anywhere. The mind is actually within the body, but isn't at any part of the body. The mind is within the body, but is not at any particular point in the body. I couldn't search for the mind. Therefore, I tried to contemplate on and on. So I think that the mind might be in the feelings like happiness and happiness, or suffering. So I try to make the mind. I try to meditate and make the mind becomes happy and try to observe the happiness. Once the happiness gone and it's become empty, I couldn't find a mind anywhere. I couldn't. Then the mind observed the feelings, but the mind isn't in the feeling. Once the happiness gone, the mind didn't resurface. So I keep on observing the mind within the suffering. I try and meditate till the body becomes suffers. I sit still without any movement at all. The body moves here and there because of the weathering of the train. So I try to observe the pain that resurfacing within the body. Once the pain's gone, the mind isn't anywhere to be found. Therefore, the mind isn't in the feeling as well. So, what if the mind is within our thoughts without the mental fabrication? So I intend to chanting a mantra. Buddho Susuto Garuna Mahanavo. The Lord Buddha has the vast compassion towards the world. And I see the stream of thoughts resurfacing. The brain keep on thinking the words Buddho Susuto Garuna Mahanavo. And I saw a stream of thoughts resurfacing from middle of my chest. It resurfacing from the emptiness within of my chest, and then fall away at the emptiness in the middle of my chest as well. Once the thought resurfacing, the mindfulness recognize that, then it's fall away. Once the mindfulness recognize the phenomena that arising and falling away, the mind becomes dominant and stable. The mind develops samadhi. The mind becomes the noble mind. That I told you that you need to meditate on and on. Once the mind wanders off to think of other things, trying to be aware of it. You can meditate on any kind of meditation object, whether it's a mantra like Buddho, Namapacha, Samarapa, they're all the same. These kind of mantras or any kind of object meditation just only a bait for the fish. The fish is the mind. We want the fish, not the bait. Therefore, the mind is the fish. And this fish likes different baits. Use the baits that are appropriate for the fish, to the preference of the fish. Back then I used thoughts, the thinking contemplations by thinking mantra as a base for the mind. Buddho Susuto Karuna Manavo. Some people use Buddho or Namapata or Samaraham as short, simple phrase. But the important thing is that once you have object limitation, you have to try to be aware of your own mind. Be aware of the mind. How? For example, once you're chanting Buddha Sutta or breathing Buddha, you can, once the mind think about the things, try to be aware of it. Once the mind send out to see the objects of meditation, be aware of it. In fact, once the mind recognize any object or any phenomena, and that noble mind, which has the right samadhi, will arise automatically in all such cases. It isn't limited to the mind that wandering off and know so. If your mind develop aversion and you know so, the mindfulness will arise. Actually, the mindfulness that recognizes all physical mental parts, that is the right mindfulness. It is unlike normal mindfulness, like when you're happy with giving merits or making merits. That's when you have the mindfulness, but that normal mindfulness doesn't derive the noble mind. The mindfulness that gives rise to no mind, the mindfulness within the full foundation of mind. That's to be aware of your own body and mind. Some people be aware of the body movements like dynamics meditation or Luangpu Tian. When they try to practice that and the mind send out to the hand, you all focus on the hand, there will be no noble mind because you don't be aware of the part, the body. You're all focusing it, or you're moving your hands and you're drifting away to think about the things that you're deluded. But if the mind sent out to the hand and also the mind will be awakened. You're moving hands and you know that your mind wandering away, you know so, then the noble mind will rise. But it's kind of different from what I did back then. I have intention to chanting the mantra and then I saw a train of thoughts rises. These trains of thoughts are actually is a kind of phenomena. Once the mind recognizes it, then the mind becomes the noble mind. Once the mindfulness recognizes phenomena, then the automatic samadhi will rise. So for the rest of us, we can observe any of the limitation that you competent at knowing. I meditated since I was young, so I can recognize all kind of phenomena, but I don't know how important it is. I saw a train of thoughts arising, not the story of it. If you're chanting mantra and your mind is with the mantra, knowing mind wouldn't arise. You have to be aware of the phenomena. Any kind of mantra are the same. It's only the base of the fish. And it's actually the objects. It's a made-up story, made-up thing. The mind think of the kind of mantra without any real substance. It's only thoughts. All kind of stories of the thoughts are not essential. So once we know, if you know the story of the mind, it doesn't give rise to the knowing mind. But if you see the mind that thinks, it will give rise to the noble mind. This is very important. And it's quite difficult because it's very delicate. But easy thing is that once you meditate on an object, once the mind wander off, no so. When the mind focusing on the object, no so. Keep on practicing like it. Some people practice like when the mind wandering away, no so. Wander off again, no so again. Or moving hand or chanting Buddha. Once the mind wander off to think of other things and don't think of the Buddha, and you're competent at chanting Buddha, then you realize that you're forgot about the Buddha. Once you're aware that you forget about the Buddha, at that moment, the no mind will rise. Because it will see that the mind just now wander off to think about it instead of chanting Buddha. The mind that wandering off like that is the restlessness, which is another kind of phenomenon. Like when I chanting Buddha Susuto and a train of thoughts arises, that called vitok. It's another kind of phenomenon. You can't observe any kind of phenomenon and you will be able to give rise to the noble mind. Some people are angry natured. Whenever the aversion arises, trying to be aware of it. At first, the aversion wouldn't go away because the mindfulness doesn't arise. Because you have the intention to meddle with the phenomena. It's not the true wholesomeness of mind. Because as far as you have practice, when aversion arises, try and be aware of it, on and on. You see that aversion prolong it. There's no end to it. But if you keep on practicing, it will be useful because up to one point, the mind will be able to recognize the phenomena of the aversion. It's when it can firmly memorize, firmly recognize the phenomena of aversion. Once the aversion arises, there is characteristics of destruction, kind of push away all kind of emotions, kind of push away all the obstacles, other people, other things, like you have to push through your hands or your feet like that. That's the characteristics of aversion. But further greed or lust, you want to draw things, and like when you see a cat, you want to hug that. So try to observe these kind of phenomena on and on. Then the mind will be able to recognize these phenomena. Sometimes the mind against these objects, against these emotions, these are aversion. They still meddle with the if you keep on observing the aversion, after a while the mind will be able to recognize the aversion. Once it arises, then the mindfulness will automatically arise, and aversion will fall away before the mindfulness arises. You have to remember one rule of the Dhamma: wholesomeness and unwholesomeness cannot arise together. The mindfulness is the wholesomeness. The mindfulness only arises with the mind that is wholesome. So whenever the mind develops the aversion, and the aversion doesn't go away, it means that you don't have the true mindfulness. Because if the true mindfulness arises, the aversions will go away. The new mind wouldn't comprise with the aversion. It come back, retrospect to the previous mind that the mind is comprised of aversion. When you observe the body, you observe in the present moment, like you're moving hand, you're moving head. You are moving hand, you are moving head. But for the mental part, we only observe it in the following moment. It needs to be right after that moment, not like yesterday you're angry, today you know that you're angry. That's not correct. And once the aversion go away, then the right mind, the true noble mind will rise. So when you meditate, a lot of people aim for the samadhi, but actually samadhi can be categorized into different things. For the Westerners use the mantra. The Westerner use the mantra meditation for the calmness samadhi. But for the mindfulness meditation, they use the mindfulness to practice. These are two types of meditation. But for us, we call it samadhi. But we don't realize that the samadhi can be categorized into different things. We try to incline the mind to in the drowsiness and calmness. We make our mind drowsy. That's not samadhi. That should be prohibited. You have to practice the mind to be awakened, not fall asleep. Because normally the mind already asleep. It never wake up. You only wake up in terms of your physical body, but the mind keep on being asleep all the time. The mind that live in the world of thoughts is the mind that is asleep. The mind that is awakened is the mind that get out of the world of thoughts. That's a different kind of mind. It is too difficult. You can choose the easy one. You don't have to do the difficult like this. By meditate on an object and try to observe your mind. Is it easy now? Are you sure it's easy? How to observe, how to be aware of the mind. Where's the mind? That I try to observe in a very detailed way, because some people are very curious and knows a lot of details. Some people just want to the easy part, easy things. Some people like long meals, like want to have the sophisticated diet, but for other people, they want fast food. You have to be patient. This is for you. You shouldn't be so disheartened. It's very difficult. It's quite difficult for beginners. So try to meditate an object. Try to be aware of your own mind. When you're, for example, breathing in good, without no, once the mind wander off to the one of thought, to the breath, wander off to the breath, then try to be aware of it, that the mind becomes normal mind. Once the mind think of other things, try to be aware of it again. Know that it becomes restless. Do not know the story of the mind. Know that the mind wander off to think. Most people, all people already know the story of the mind, but not knowing that the mind wander off to think. Once the mind wander off and you know so, the noble mind will rise. You'll have the mindfulness know that your mind overgot the object. You know right away that it's greed. It wanting to be the mind to be peaceful. That's one kind of defilement. Most people who keep on overguessing, that's all because of the defilements. So try to be aware when the mind is sending out to overguess on the object of meditation. The mind that send out to the object meditation will fall away if the mindfulness denies it, and the noble mind will rise. Or you can observe the feelings within our heart. Anyone feel so angry, try to be aware of it. Once the aversion arises, know so. Happen again, know so again. And after a while, the mindfulness will be able to recognize that aversion and automatically give rise to the noble mind. The noble mind has no defilements, because in the Dhamma, they call the noble mind as a great wholesomeness, comprising with wisdom, with no invitation. You don't have to make it to happen. It happens automatically. Any kind of wholesomeness that we have to make it happen, that's the weak wholesomeness. Likewise, when we have to try to try to convince the unwholesomeness to happen, that the weak unwholesomeness. But if it happens on its own, without your intention, without convincing, it's a strong requirement. Some people, when you when people ask you, invited you to come give an alms to the monks or listen to the Dhamma in the very early morning, and you have to feel like feel indecisive, and you have to make a decision whether you wanted to go or not, or you don't want to wake up so early. That's weak wholesomeness, because they need to be invited by your friends. So the noble mind is the great wholesomeness, comprising wisdom without invitation. These kind of noble minds can be also separated into two categories. The first one is with the is comprising with wisdom, comprising with happiness within the mind, or equanimity. There's no suffering. If the mind develops suffering, you don't have to ask whether it's wholesome or unwholesome, because the mind that suffers comprises with the aversion always. If you become so irritated or agitated today, that's the unwholesomeness for sure. Today you are so happy. The mind is wholesome or unwholesome. Anyone thinks wholesomeness hands up? That's wrong. That's a misunderstanding. When the mind develops greed, it can be happy as well. For example, if you look in the garden and see flowers, you might be happy. That kind of mind can comprise with the greed as well. So the happy mind can comprise with greed or neutrality. Or if you cannot observe the aversion, you can see the feelings of the mind like happiness and unhappiness. The happiness is the happiness within our mind, and suffering within our mind. But in Dhamma term, there's a dukkha vedana, the suffering feelings, sukha vedana in Bali, is within the mind. And if you cannot observe any kind of phenomena, I would suggest you to observe the feelings, happiness and happiness, neither happiness nor unhappiness within the heart. Because every mind, all kinds of mind, needs to comprise with these things. Even the minds of the Arahant, the noble one, there are feelings. Keep on observing the mind. Whether if your mind develops suffering right now, knows if it's happy, knows if it's neither happiness or unhappiness, knows so. All day long, kind of steps like this. Keep on observing this. How can you not achieve any attainment? Is it difficult whether to observe that the mind is happiness, unhappiness, or indifference? Anyone's happy right now? Anyone suffer? Anyone's indifferent? A lot of people are indifferent. But a lot more people know nothing. Why? Because you only listen to my talk and cannot observe your own mind. That's why Master Luangpu doing to observe our mind is not difficult actually. It's very easy. You can observe the feeling within our heart. If the mind is happy, know so. Happy, know so. Indifferent, know so. Knowing every day. And then if you keep sitting in the mind, your your mind develops aversion, then the suffering will rise. Or you want to meditate. When you think of the meditation, sitting meditation, the mind becomes tight. That's unwholesomeness. Why? Why sit in meditation and you become unwholesome? Because you start your meditation with greed. You want to be calm, you want to be good, you want to know things, and you want to become anything or anyone. There's a lot of wantings there. So trying to serve very easily, like serve with the mind is happy or indifferent. There's another things that I like to teach other people to my disciple to observe the craving or the greed. Whenever the mind develops this craving, whatever craving it is, at first you might see it in a large extent, be able to observe it. But after a while, you see that all day long they are full of cravings. Sometimes there's craving, sometimes there's no craving. Very easy to observe. There's a lot of phenomena, like 52 phenomena, is just too much, too many. So you can observe the one that you're competent at knowing. The things that I think that is easy to observe is happiness and indifference. That the mind now is happy or unhappy or indifferent. There are only three of these circulating within our heart. Keep on observing. Whenever any kind of feelings, any changes within our hearts, then you'll be able to observe it right away. Whenever you see the forms, the eye see form, and you interpret that object, that's beautiful flowers, and you think that is and the happiness arising, or the good atmospheres, good breathing, the mind becomes happy. At the moment that the eye see forms, the happiness doesn't arise just yet. That moment is indifference. But once the interpretations of the flowers to be good, there's a yield and breathing and the rising of the sun, the mild radiance, and the happiness arises. Happiness arises after thoughts. Once the happiness arises, there will be greed arising together with the happiness. Once the greed arises together, then it will command your mind to be craving for those flowers. You want to take it for yourself. Once you take it, you have to preserve it. This is craving for possession. Once you hold on to the flowers, there's a big worms in that rose. You want to throw it away. That's another craving for it to go away. There are three cravings. The first one is craving to want to have it, craving to preserve it, and craving to make it disappear. There are these three cravings. At first, you might see only coarse phenomena. After a while, you'll even craving for hearing, craving to serve, craving for understanding. Like listening to my talk, you want to understand, you're craving for understanding. Actually, Dhamma is not within myself. What I talk to, or the talks that I give, is only guide. It's only outlines of the Dhamma practice, but you have to observe your own mind. Anyone can observe the happiness and happiness or indifference. It's not actually that difficult to observe. If you're happy, know that. A lot of people ignore these feelings. Once the happiness rises, they only, for example, focus on the flowers that make your mind happy, or they don't observe that mindset of greed or happiness. Actually, everybody can observe this. for example, the body is sitting here. Can you be aware that the body is sitting? The body moving its head. Can you realize that? It's not difficult. So try to practice observing the body breathing knows so, the body moving knows so, the body is in any kind of posture knows so, or you can observe the feeling as well. But I would suggest you to observe feeling within our hearts, not within the body. Otherwise, it will be too unbearable to observe like the pain within the body. When I talk, I said nothing, your mind changes. The mind become still as well. You observe, at first you listen to my Dhamma talks and you become happy and enjoying it. You see that you feel that you have merit. And once you date, you go to deity and the Yomabans asks whether what merit that you've done. You said that you listen to Dhamma talks. And the Yomaban will ask what's Dhamma talks about, and you had no idea because you're enjoying it too much. In fact, Master Luangpu Dun taught me in the very first sentence, to practice Dhamma is not difficult. It's difficult for non-practitioners. Is it difficult? Just moving and you'll be aware of it. Or the happiness is not easy. It's not difficult to observe. Or the mind develop craving, for example. Knows that the craving arises. Craving for speaking. Some people wanted to speak. Have you experienced this before? They want to speak too much, so much. The craving for speaking inundate. Once they get to speak, they keep on speaking, not endlessly. Is it difficult to observe the craving? The foreigners. Actually, it's not. Luangpu Dun said that it's not difficult to practice Dhamma. It's only difficult for ones who do not practice. Some people feel a little bit irritated. What kind of thing? What he's on about? He's confused. They're confused. They want to get some answer. They are confused and they are in doubt. Why they think a lot? Because they want the answer. Any kind of story of the mind, that's not important. Just know that my thing. So try to observe the phenomena. Any kind of phenomena that you're competent at knowing. I attained the know mind. When I was practicing with Master Luangpu Dun, when the mind is chanting mantra, the brain think of Bhutto, Bhutto, Kasuna Mahanavo, and then the train of thoughts arising within my heart. That's a result. That's another kind of phenomenon. And the mind will became the knower mind. This knower mind I have been developed since I was young, since I was 10 years old, from sitting meditation. So that knowing mind can be arises within two causes. The first one is to sit from sitting meditation with mindfulness. And when the mind let go of the thoughts, and then it can develop the knower mind. Once it can let go of applied thought and sustain thought. But another method, be aware of the phenomena. For example, aversion, delusion, greed, happiness, and happiness. These are phenomena. Craving as well is another kind of greed. It's another kind of phenomena. So try to observe these phenomena on and on. At first, you can observe two duality, for example, one duality. For example, happiness and happiness, or aversion or aversion. Right now, for example, you're happy and then indifference. Happiness and indifference. These are duality, one set. When you meditate, only observe duality. For example, aversion and non-aversion, it keeps circulating, it keeps resurfacing within our heart all day long. Or craving and non-craving, keep on observing that. And you will be able to see that the mind swings here and that. The craving and non-craving. The avert, the angry and not angry. That the mind changes, constantly changes like that. It teaches you the three characteristics. Aversion, the angry mind is not constant, and you can learn these duality. So I cite you to read a book that I wrote called Learn the Duality to Understand a Singularity. Some people raise their hand all the time, and some other people don't raise their hand at all. Now, number 1. I practice informal meditation by observing the rising and falling of the abdomen. In daily life, I try to observe the breath. Sitting meditation, once the rise and falling abdomen becomes calm, and it becomes tight, and it changes to the breath, and once the breath is gone, I feel as if there's no breath. Luangpu said that you can use any kind of meditation. If you want calmness, you can observe the abdomen or the breath. But if you want to make the mind become stable, then you try to observe your mind, that the mind is now with the object of meditation or with the world of thought. So the first kind of samadhi is when the mind is with the object of meditations that make you happy. For example, the breath or the abdomen that makes you happy, you be with them. That's the for calmness samadhi, or rest. Another kind of samadhi to make the mind become stable. Some people said that the samadhi is the stable mind. That's not correct. Samadhi, the mental practice, is different from mind. It's two different things. But the stable mind has the right samadhi. Some people quote it wrong. For you, if you want to make the mind stable, try to be aware of your own mind. See the mind keep wavering. No, so. Then the mind becomes stable. Now you can see that the mind is not the mind now and back then different. This is the stable mind. Now you can observe, keep on observing the body. The body is not us. See, the body is not us. But if your mind is calm, you observe the mind. If you observe the body is still us. So the calm mind and the stable mind is different, two different things. And the samadhi in the Buddhism doesn't mean calmness. It actually the stability of mind, not the stable mind. Now the mind is not stable. The mind drifting away. If you can observe like this, you can keep on practicing. Ultimately, the mind will become stable. And whenever the mindfulness recognizes anything, that thing won't be us. Number 2,
ภาวนาในรูปแบบบริกรรม
I
พุทโธ
practice
ดูร่างกายหายใจเห็น
meditation
ร่างกาย
by
เคลื่อนไหว
chanting Buddha and see the
ในชีวิต
body
ประจำวัน
moving and
เช่นการ
breathing.
สวดมนต์
In daily
ช่ว
life,
ง
I
เริ่มต้น
use
ดูร่างกายหาย
chanting
ใจร่ว
mantra
มกับพุทโธ
at the beginning.
และส
I
ลับกับการ
observe
เดินจงกรม
the body
ดูร่าง
and
กายเคลื่อน
chanting
ไหว
Buddha and
เมื่อนึ
swap
กถึงการปฏิ
and
บัติ
switch
จะนึกถึง
to
พุทโธ
walking
บ่อยๆ
meditation.
เริ่มมารู้สึกที่ร่าง
At
กาย
first,
เห็นกายหายใจ
in
กาย
the
เคลื่อน
beginning
ไหว
of the Dhamma
อย่า
practice,
คิดพุทโธกำ
I
กับ
start to
สักช่วงห
observe
นึ่ง
the
พุทโธ
Buddha,
จะหายไปมา
and
รู้สึ
then
ก
the
แค่ร่าง
Buddha
กาย
gone
ใจ
and
ยัง
come
ฟุ้ง
back
เย
to
อะ
the body.
คิด
The
มาก
mind
เรื่
becomes
องความหงุด
scattered,
หงิด
think
รู้
a
ว่า
lot,
เป็นโท
and
สะจะ
become
ดูโท
irritated.
สะด้วยใจ
I know
ที่
that
กาย
I'm
เคลื่อนไหว
angry natured.
สามารถทำ
So
แบบนี้ต่อ
observe.
ไปได้ไหมคะ
ถ้าอย่างที่พูดได้
Luangpo
แต่ว่า
said
ที่
that
สำคัญ
you
คือ
can
ใจเราไม่ได้เป็นกลางจิต
do what you said, but your
ใจ
mind
เรา
is
ไม่ชอบ
not
โทสะใจเราอยากให้มัน
neutral.
สงบอะไรเงี้ย
Your mind is like
ให้
a
เราทัน
person. Your
ใจ
mind
ตัว
wants
เอ
to
ง
be
นะ อย่าง
calm.
เบอร์ 2
So
ก็
try
ดี
to observe
นะ
your mind.
จิตเราไม่เป็นธรรมชาติรู้สึก
Now
ว่า
your mind is not
ตึงไป
natural.
หมดแล้ว
You see
รู้สึก
that
ไหม
it's very
เอ
tight.
ออย่าทำอย่างนั้นเสียเวลา
Don't do that.
เหนื่อย
It's
เป
a waste of
ล่า
time.
ๆนะ
It's
จิตที่ดีคือจิตปกตินะ
exhausting. The good mind is
จิตจริงๆมัน
natural
เป็น
mind.
ธาตุรู้มันทำหน้าที่
The
รู้
true form of
แต่
mind
เราก็
is
ชอบไปดัดแปลงมัน
the knowing element. There's duties to know,
ติดสมา
but
ธิ
you try to
นิ่ง
adjust it. You still stuck in the calmness samadhi. Keep on moving,
ๆอย่างเงี้ย
moving like this.
ตรงนี้ดีกว่าเอา
Now,
อีกละ
again, you did it
เพราะฉะนั้น
again.
พอคิดถึงการปฏิบัติ
Whenever you
จะ
think
ทุ
of
กจิตเข้า
Dhamma
มาทุกค
practice,
รั้ง
you
เลยตร
kind
ง
of
นั้นแหละที่ผิดนะ
pull the mind in.
เราต้องการนั่งสมาธิก็นั่งไปเลยไม่ต้องไปดึงจิตนะนั่งปุ๊บมันก็เข้าที่แล้ว
You start meditation, you want
เนี่ยไม่ใช่แล้ว
to
นะ
pull the mind in.
ออกมาถอยออกมา
Come back.
เป็นคนป
That's
ก
not
ติจิต
right.
ที่ดีอยู่ตรงนี้นะ
Be
ใจเรา
natural,
เข้า
be
ไป
normal
ทรงชื่อ
people.
อยู่ข้างใน
Do not incline the mind inside like that.
นี่ยังติดสมาธินะต้องค่อยๆ
You're
ฝึก
stuck
ไป
in samadhi. You have to
รวบ
keep
เข้า
on
มา
practice.
รู้ทัน
Once
จิต
the
ไหล
mind
ออก
pull
รู้
in,
ทัน
knows, the mind
พ
relax,
อจะ
knows.
สังเกตออกไหมจิตมันรวบเข้ามา
You feel that the mind is
เรี
pulling.
ยนตรงนี้ก็ได้จิตมันร
You
วบ
can know
เข้า
like
จิต
that.
มันคลาย
The mind pull
ห
in
นึ่งคู่ละ
and the mind relax.
ดู
That's
ไปเรื่
one
อย
duality. You
ๆเดี๋ยว
cannot,
ก็ร
you
วบ
can't
เดี๋ยวก็
observe
ปล่อย
like
เดี๋ยวก็รวบเดี๋ยวก็ปล่อย
sometimes pull in, it's time to release.
เบอร์
Pull
3
in and release.
เบอร์
Number 3.
ภาวนาในรูปแบบโดย
I practice in formal meditation by walking and sitting meditation for about 30 minutes a day. In daily life, I observe the body breathing.
ระหว่างวันยังรู้สึกตัวได้น้อย
In daily life, I feel as if I
หล
couldn't
วงพ่อเมตตา
become self-aware and a lot of
ก็ไม่
evil
ช่วยไม่
thoughts.
ได้
Luangpo
ไม่
said
ได้
that
คิดน่ะ
it can't be helped.
สินเป็นอนัตตา
The evil thoughts happens. The
แสดง
mind
ว่าจง
is
คิดแต่เรื่องดี
non-self.
สั่งไม่ได้
You cannot command it
แต่
to
ว่า
think
ถ้า
of
คิด
good
ไม่ดี
things
ก็รู้
only.
ทัน
But once the
ถ้ามันคิดไม่ดี
evil
แล้วเรา
thoughts
ไม่ชอบ
arises, know so.
อยากจะให้มัน
And
คิด
if you
แต่สิ่งดี
dislike it,
ให้รู้ว่าไม่ช
you
อบ
want it to
ให้รู้ว่า
think
อยาก
of only good things.
เนี่ย
Just
การ
know
ดู
the
ความ
good
รู้
thing.
สึกของเราเป็นช็อต
Try to
ไปเรื่
keep
อย
on
ๆนะ
observing your
ให้
feelings
ดู
from moment to another moment,
เบ
on
อร์
and
สาม
on.
นะพอใช้ได้อยู่
Number 3,
นะ
you're
ไม่เล
actually
วนะ
good. It's
แต่เบ
not
อร์
bad.
2เนี่ยติดสมา
But
ธิ
number 2, you're stuck in the
ต้
samadhi.
องค่อยปรับนะ
You
เบอ
have
ร์
to
2
keep on
เบอร์ 3
adjusting
ตรง
it.
นี้หลงรู้ไหม
Number 3, now you're drifting away. You see that?
อย่างเราจะรู้สภาวะนะ
When you're
ส
trying to
ยามเรา
observe
รู้
the
นี่รู้
phenomena,
แล้วนะอย่างเรา
that's
จะดู
drifting away.
ท้องสมมติดูท้องแล้ว
For
จิตมันถล
example,
ำ
if you observe
เห
the
มือนชะ
phenomena,
โงกไปดูผิดละจิต
like
ไม่
you're
ตั้งมั่นละ
sending out the mind to see it,
จิตตั้งมั่นมันจะเป็นแค่คนรู้
that's
คนเห็น
not
ค
the
นดู
stable mind. The stable mind is when the mind is in the knower, only
จิตหลง
observe
คิด
it.
ทราบไหม
Now the mind drifting away to
ต้องอย่างเนี้ย
thoughts.
เห็นไหมตรง
See,
ที่รู้ว่าจิตหลงคิดเนี่ยจิต
whenever
มัน
you
ตื่นขึ้น
see
มาตร
the
งนี้คือ
mind
จิตที่
drifting
ตื่
away
น
to
ขึ้นมา
thought,
นะ
drifting
เว
away
ลา
to
จิต
think,
หลงคิ
the
ดเรา
mind
รู้
becomes
เนี่ย
awakened.
จิตมันจะตื่นขึ้นมา
When you're drifting away
คือ
and you
ถ้า
know
เรารู้
so,
ทัน
the
แค่
mind
คิ
will
ดไม่
become
ตื่นนะ
awakened. But if
แต่
you
รู้ว่าตอน
only
จิต
know
หล
the
งไปคิ
story
ด
of
เนี่
the
ยมัน
mind,
ตื่น
the mind won't be awakened.
เบอร์ 4
But if you know that the mind
เบอ
drifting
ร์
away,
4
the mind
ภา
will
ว
be
นา
awakened.
ในรูปแบบเดินจ
Number
งกร
4,
มและนั่ง
I
ส
do
มา
formal
ธิดู
meditation,
ลมหาย
walking
ใจ
and sitting
นามะ
meditation,
พัทธะ
observing the breath,
ในชีวิต
and
ประ
chanting
จำ
the
วัน
Mahapada.
พิจารณาเฝ้า
In
ดู
daily
จิต
life, I try to
เมื่อถูก
observe
ล
the
มปะ
mind.
ทะแรงๆรู้ทัน
Whenever
บ้าง
that
ไม่ทันบ้าง
react,
เผลอก็รู้
there are a
ปล่อ
lot
ย
of
วางเห็นทุกอย่าง
up,
ดับ
there
ไม่
are a lot of
ทำลายจิต
emotions, try to
มี
observe
แค่
it.
หลงและ
I
รู้
see that the only
ไม่ทรา
non-self,
บเดินปัญ
the
ญามาก
only
ไปหรือเปล่า
arise, the only lost, the mind that is lost and knowing. doing. I'm not sure whether I cultivate wisdom or not.
ต้องทำทุกวัน
Luangpo said that you have to do calmness samadhi every
ไม่งั้น
day.
เดี๋ยว
You have to set aside time. Otherwise, when you keep on cultivating wisdom, then you might become stressed. The relentlessness and the wisdom is divided by a thin line. When the mind fabricated without mindfulness to know, then you become stressed. You let the mind fabricate it, but you have to have the mindfulness to be aware of it. That's the wisdom cultivation. But if you keep on cultivating wisdom all the time, then your samadhi is not enough, then the defilement for insight will happen, and you have the understanding of a lot of things. So you shouldn't ignore the calmness samadhi. You have to set aside time for the calmness samadhi every day. What you practice is good. Number 5. You don't have to be startled. When I saw you and I smile at you, you become startled. Don't be. Number 5, I practice formations, walking meditation in morning for 1 hour, in evening another 1 hour. In daily life, try to observe the movement of the body. Whenever there's an action, there's a reaction as well. A lot of discussion, a lot of reactions happening in daily life. I'm not sure whether I have to control it. Luangpu said that you cannot control it because you cannot command it. You have to break. You have to take a break. Sometime, for example, 1 hour passed by. You can break for like going to toilet, to bathroom, to change the mood. When you take a break, the mind will become refreshed a little bit, and you can keep on working. But if you keep on involving with the world all the time, constantly, the mind will be not only the physical body will be exhausted, the mind as well. So you have to take a break from time to time. For example, 1 hour, you can take a break for 5 minutes. If you can meditate for 5 minutes per hour, then 12 hours, it sum up to be 1 hour of meditation. Then your mental strength will be higher. But if you become exhausted and you don't have to take a break, if you didn't take a break, Master Luangpu used to tell some trick. For example, if you're so exhausted, try to take a deep breath and then hold the breath and try to feel the stillness and emptiness at that moment and then breathe out naturally. If you practice competent at doing this, when you come to that emptiness for a moment, then you have another 1 hour of refreshing. If you become too much involved with the world, it will be exhausted for sure. Number 3, what you're doing is wrong. You're all focusing. You just feel that it becomes tight. I just realized that all the people, they have an elephant pen for everyone. Number 6. I practice form meditation about 30 minutes a day. In daily life, I feel the body moving. Sometimes I do house chores and there's less of focus. While sitting meditation, I feel wavering bits in middle of my chest, so I couldn't move. So I couldn't do sitting meditation. Master Luangpu said that your smile is good. Keep on being aware of yourself. Once you know how to become aware of yourself, whenever the mindfulness recognizing parts of the body, you see that that part of the body is not us. Feeling is not us. Or greed, aversion, illusion arising. Once the mindfulness knows and the mind is only the knower, you see that these feelings are not us. Even the knower mind arising the following way. Sometimes it's a knower mind, sometimes it's a thinker mind. The mind is not us. The mind, there is no perpetual existence. Well, your practice is good. Number 7, I did formal meditation for about 1 hour a day and walking meditation for another half an hour. and I
เมื่อหยุดฟุ้งซ่านก็
using
จะดูความ
breathing
รู้สึกใน
technique.
กาย
When the
ใน
mind
ชีวิต
becomes
ประ
restless,
จำวัน
try to
ดู
observe
การ
the
เคลื่อน
body.
ไหวใช้ลมหาย
In
ใจ
daily
บ
life,
ริ
I
หาร
like
กำ
to
ที่
see
เป็น
the
แบบ
body
นี้ถู
move
กต้อง
and
ไหมครับ
use the breath as an
ก็
observation.
ถูกนะ
Luangpo said that
แต่ในชีวิตประ
it's
จำวันนะถ้า
correct,
เราดู
but
กา
in
ยเคลื่
daily
อนไหว
life, if
อะนะ
you
ก็ไม่ต้องไปดูลม
observe
หร
the
อก
body moving, you shouldn't
จิต
observe
น่ะ
the
รู้
breath.
ลมได้ครั้งละอย่างเดียว
The mind can
คือ
only
ถ้าจะ
observe
รู้ลม
one
ก็รู้ลมไป
observation at
ถ้า
a time.
เคลื่อนไหวอ
You
ยู่เนี่ยนะ
observe the body
เห็น
move.
ร่างกายมันเคลื่อนไหวไปเลย
If you observe the breath,
ไม่งั้นเนี่ยจิตมันจะ
do
ติ
it.
ด
If
อยู่
you
อย่างเดียว
observe the
นิ่ง
body
ๆนะ
moving,
เข้า
do
ใจ
it.
มา
Any
นะไม่งั้น
you
มัน
have
จะ
to
ติด
choose
สมา
one.
ธินะ
Otherwise, you
มั
are
นจะติด
stuck
ค
in
วาม
the
เฉ
samadhi.
ย
Come back.
ๆ
Otherwise,
เฉ
you
ย
might
นานๆเราก็
feel.
รู้สึกดีสงบ
If it becomes still for a
แต่
long
ยิ่ง
period of
ไม่
time,
ได้
you
ดี
feel
หรอก
good.
เสียเวลา
Actually,
เนิ่
it's
น
not
ช้า
good.
เห็
It
นไหม
wastes of
ร่างกาย
time.
กำลังขยับ
To
เนี่ย
see
รู้
that
สึ
the
กว่า
mind
ใจ
is
ปก
moving,
ติเลยนะ
know it with
ต้อ
the
งใช้ใจ
natural,
ที่ป
normal
กติ
mind.
ถึงจะถูกต้อง ตรงนี้ไม่ปกติแล้ว
Now the mind is not
ดูออก
natural.
แล้วใช่ไหม
You see
ที่เรา
that
นั่งสมาธิอะเราไปทำใจอย่างตะกี้อะ
when
เรา
you
ไป
sit
แต่
in
งใจให้
meditation,
มันเป็นอย่าง
you
นั้น
try
อย่า
to
งนี้
fabricate the mind to be a particular manner
มัน
like
จะ
that,
เคยชินนะ เพราะงั้นต้อ
and
ง
it
ใช้เวลา
becomes
กว่าจะ
accustomed
หลุด
to it,
จากไอ้ตัว
accustomed to
ที่เรา
it.
ไปติดอยู่
And it will take some work
เราไปสร้างมัน
be
ขึ้น
able
มา
to get out of that
สภาวะ
state.
อันเนี้ยเราคิดว่าเนี่ยคือการปฏิ
You
บัติ
fabricate a state and you think that this is
เนี่ย
Dhamma
เนี่ย
practice.
เข้าไปอีกแล้ว
You
ดู
enter
อ
that
อกยัง
realm again.
ต
Can
ร
you
ง
feel
นั้นแหละ
that?
ที่ผิดอ่ะ
That is wrong.
เบอร์ 8
Number 8.
เบอร์ 8 ภาวนาในรูปแบบไหว้
I
พระ
did.
สวดม
I
น
do
ต์
formal
เดินจงกร
meditation,
มนั่งส
chanting
มาธิ
and
ประมาณ 30
sitting
นาทีเป็นประ
meditation
จำ
for about 30
ใน
minutes
ชี
to
วิต
1
ประ
hour a
จำวั
day.
นดูกายดูจิต
In daily life, I try to observe the
ช่วงนี้
body
ดู
and
ทุกข์ที่เกิด
mind
ขึ้
that
น
moving
ขอ
and
หลวงพ่อ
changing.
แนะนำต่อด้วยค่ะ
ก็ดู
Can
ต่
you
อ
give
ไป
me
นะ
suggestion? Keep on.
ทำไป
Luangpo
เรื่อย
said that keep on
ๆ ช่วงจิต
observing
ใจ
and
เรายัง
doing
ไม่ค่อ
more
ย
and
มีแร
more.
ง
But today,
ถ้า
still
จิตใจ
your
ไม่
mind
มี
is
แรงก็
become
ทำความส
exhausted.
งบไป
If your mind
ไหว้
is
พระสวด
exhausted,
มนต์
try
ไป
to
เดี๋ยวมันก็สงบแล้วล่ะ
try to do calmness samadhi. You
แร
can
งไม่
chant.
พอวันนี้ รู้สึกไหม
They
แรงมันต
your
ก
mind is exhausted,
ตกกว่าปกตินิดหน่อยนะไม่เป็นไร
slower than
ทำ
usual.
ทุกวันนะเดี๋ยวก็
Just
ดีเอง
keep
ละ
doing it. That'll become good.
เบอร์ 1 ตรงเนี้ยถ้า
Number
เราลอง
one.
ไปดูนะ
Now you're sending out the
อ
mind
ย่าง
to
นี้เรียกว่า
observe.
จิตไม่ตั้งมั่นจิตมันไหลไปแล้ว
The
ไม่
mind
ได้
now
ดู
is not stable.
จิต
The
ที่ตั้ง
mind is
มั่น
sending
น่ะ
out
คือ
to
มันไม่ไหล
observe.
ไปโดยที่เราไม่ได้รักษาไว้
The
ถ้า
stable
เรารั
mind
กษา
is the
ไว้
mind that is
จิต
not
ตั้ง
sending out without
จิตเนี่ยตั้ง
forcing it.
เสียเวลา
It's a waste of time if you keep on doing that.
เบอร์ 3 มันก็ติด
Number 3.
ในการ
You're
ชอบบัง
stuck
คับตัวเองอยู่นะ
in forcing yourself, overcasting yourself.
ธรรมดา
Be
ธรรม
natural,
ดา
be
ทำ
normal.
ไมมันยากนักเนาะ
Why is it so difficult to be normal and natural?
หัดเป็นคนธรรมดาเนาะ
Just train yourself to be normal
คนนะ
and
บางที
natural.
ก็วาดภาพ
A
พ
lot
ระ
of
อรหัน
people
ต์พระอริยะ
imagine
ว่าต้องไม่ธรรมดา
noble ones and
หล
arahant
วงปู่
as
ดู
a
ลท่านบอกว่า
nature
พระอรหั
person.
นต์นะเป็นคนธรรม
Master
ดา
Luangpu
นะ
Dun actually said that
พวกเรา
the
ต่าง
arahant
หากที่ไม่ธรรมดา
is very
ถู
not
กกิเลสลาก
absolute
ไป
normal.
ลากมา
Unlike other people
ใจ
in the
ของ
world,
เราเลยไม่
they're
เป็น
not,
ธรรมดา
they
สัก
are
ที
abnormal. They are dragged away,
ค
dragged
วามอ
down
ยาก
by
เกิด
all kinds of
เกิด
defilements.
ความดิ้นรน
Once the
เกิดความ
craving
ทุกข์
arises,
วน
there
เวียน
is
อยู่แค่นั้น
suffering,
นะวัน
and suffering keep on happening, circling like this all day.
ๆวันนี้เท่านี้ก็แล้วกัน
That should be enough for today.